Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the Ox Gallery. My name's Barry. Sorry I haven't posted in a while, but the proverbial poo hit the fan, and I've been hit with injuries, family health issues, death in the family, and then of course, work's come back, so things have been a bit busy. So I apologize for the delay. Just real life gets you sometimes. So anyway, we're back at it, and if you're new here, thank you for joining, and if you are been a subscriber, then thank you for sticking with me through all this, and I'm definitely ready to get back into the swing of things. This is part 4 and the final piece for Poseidon's cut, and this has been one of the starting pieces into my journey into trying to get hard recycled plastics out of the our food and water stream, and to try to figure out a way to lock them up a little bit until we can figure out the best way to recycle these types of plastics, or ways to make plastics out of other materials that biodegrade a little better than these plastics do, because currently they don't. They just break down into micro and nanoplastics, and then they get eaten by small creatures, and it works its way up the food chain. And then it also is small enough to get into our water supply, and can even get small enough to avoid some filtration systems. So that being said, this is just me trying to figure out a way to reduce my impact on the environment a little bit, and also to try and show people ways that we can maybe figure out ways to lock up these plastics and keep them out of the landfills and out of the water and out of our food supplies. So that being said, thank you for joining me on this, and I look forward to hearing your feedback in the comments below. If you enjoy this content, then feel free to subscribe. And if you want to follow me and keep get notified when I drop a new video, then please be sure to hit the bell button. So anyway, thank you guys very much for sticking with me on this, and I look forward to dropping more content real soon. This video in particular is one of the ones I've recorded it in the past before a lot of this stuff had happened and slowed me down. And so the audio might not be as good. It may have a little bit of a tin can sound because I was using a different mic at the time. But I've upgraded a little bit. Now I'm just trying to learn all the ins and outs to using some of the newer equipment so that I can produce better video content and just get better quality out of it. So thank you guys for hanging in there. All right, so I went ahead and covered up my piece. I just want to protect the final coat surface because it came out really nice, and I don't want to go dripping any glue or anything on it. So I just put some paper on there with some painter's tape. So I've got everything I labeled. I made sure to label, my sides on the piece before I covered it. And I've got my pieces laid out here, and I've got my little strap clamped in a clear glue so that just in case there's any accidents, anything that comes out will be clear. But I'm just going to put a thin bead on the center here and get these pieces attached, and then clamp it all together. Alright, here we go. I'm going to make sure I've got my little bit of detail edge on the same side on all these. Alright, we're going to let this dry up. I'll come back and check on it every so often to make sure nothing's shifting. This glue sets up in 24, I believe it was 24, it cures in 72. Yeah, let's see, 24 hours for curing maximum bond strength. Might not be reached for 72 hours. So it should cure pretty good in 24 hours, but I'm not going to go attacking anybody with it for at least 72 because it might fall apart. Alright, so this is looking really good. took the clamps off. This is dried enough. It's not fully cured, but it's dried enough that I can mess with it right now. This coloring looks great. The final shots might show it better, but I'm trying to see if you can see the dots where it looks like nail holes, but they're not overbearing. It doesn't take away from it. It's just, you know, if you pay attention to it, it kind of looks like it. The wood's rough. You know, you can see the grain, so it gives me that old ship feel that I want. I haven't taken this off yet, because I'm going to do some more stuff here. I want to add something to some mounting hardware. And I wanted to use some rope, something to look, you know, to give it that, you know, ship feel again. I knew I had some of this on the side. That's what I was thinking in my mind at first, but it's so big and bulky, I'm afraid that it's going to cause somebody to have to use like a larger piece of hardware to, you know, to hang this with, and I don't want that. And also, it's a bit stiff, and it's just, I mean, I still like the way it looks, but I just feel like it's a little problematic. So I had this. I'm going to go with this. This is either some burlap or hemp material. I'm not sure. Just something I found around the house. So I went with this, and I didn't want it to be, you know, this stuff starts to unravel fairly easy, and I didn't want it to, over time, you know, start to tear. So I cut 3 strips of it, and I wanted to see how it would look if I braided it. And it actually came out looking nice, and this is what it turned out to look like. This is what I'm going to use. I braided that. I didn't show it because I was just testing to see how it looks. And if anybody, if you don't know how to braid 3 pieces of string or rope together, then there are plenty of tutorials for hair braiding and stuff online. So I won't take away from them by doing a horrible job of a braiding tutorial video, but I just braided it together. It looked good. It's going to hold up nice. It flexes enough to where I don't think hanging, you know, will be an issue. And then what I did was the same glue I put around there, put it on the knots, and it's dry enough that what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in the middle here and get rid of all this extra, but it'll still have all this together and keep it from unraveling. So then what we're going to do is, I've got it still labeled. Here's the bottom, here's the top. So flip it over, and we're going to put this on the back here, and I'm going to glue it down. But what I want to do is, I'm going to use the Dremel tool with one of the engraving bits on here, and I'm going to mark this, and I'm going to dig a little bit into this, and I'm going to dig a little bit into the wood, just so that this sits in a little bit, so it's not pushing off the wall too much, but also so that it will scuff up the surface here, and it'll give me a little bit of a trough to put some glue in, and to get this down in there and glue it into place. So that's what we're going to do here today. Alright, so I moved the tape back just a little bit to expose some of the wood, and that's just so that when I spray this clear coat on here, I can make sure that it seals around that black paint really well, and just make sure it gives me a nice sealed edge around there. And here we go. Alright, there you have it. It's all complete. Let me get some zoomed in shots here for you. Try to show you some of the depth here. I'm real happy with it. And this will be going up on my Etsy page real soon. I've got it and a few other pieces I've completed that I've got to get on there. And it'll be under the Ox Gallery. There's a link on my YouTube banner for my Etsy page, as well as Instagram and Facebook. I don't use Facebook as much, but I do have a link there. And everything is under the Ox Gallery. But there you have it. I couldn't be happier with it. I really like that blue. And I'm really happy with the way the plastic netting came out. If you don't remember, this was what we used for the netting, and this is basically like from a bag of oranges, and so we crammed a good bit of it into this piece here, and I'm real happy with it. So thank you guys for hanging in there with me with that horrible audio, and y'all take care, and please remember to be kind to one another.